All right, so are you ready to dive into some serious fintech action? Today, we're taking a deep dive into Angel One's Q1 2025 investor presentation.
And let me tell you, this isn't just your typical earnings report. This is a glimpse into the future of investing in India.
It really is. So let's crunch some numbers, shall we? Angel One is reporting record revenue this quarter, hitting a cool Euro 11.1 billion.
That's almost a 5% jump from the previous quarter.
Exactly. And hold on tight because their client base is now a massive 24.7 million.
We're talking about a growth of over 11% in just 3 months.
Those are some seriously impressive figures, so clearly they're doing something right, but here's the thing that caught my eye. Their EBAT is down.
Ah, yes, the EBITDA. For those who don't speak finance fluently, it stands for earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. And yes, it's down, but there's a very good reason for that.
Okay, I'm all ears. What's the deal with the dip? Should we be worried?
Not at all. Remember Angel One's big marketing blitz during the last IPL season?
Oh yeah, how could I forget? It seemed like they were sponsoring every other over.
Exactly. They made a strategic decision to invest heavily in IPL branding, even if it meant a short-term hit to their EBITDA.
And it seems like that gamble paid off, at least in terms of brand awareness.
Oh, absolutely. We're talking a 30% jump in both top-of-mind awareness.
So people are thinking of Angel One first when they think of investing.
Precisely. And they've seen a 30% increase in the top box consideration, meaning more people are seriously considering using their platform.
Those are some really impressive numbers. But how does this translate into cold, hard cash for Angel One? How does brand awareness turn into revenue?
That's the million-dollar question, right? And the report actually gives us some clues. Angel One emphasizes that they're not just interested in quick trades. They're cultivating long-term investors.
Got it. So it's about building a loyal customer base, just like any other business.
Exactly. And get this. Their data shows that even clients they acquired back in FY20 years ago are still generating significant revenue today. Think of it as a slow and steady approach to growth.
So they're playing the long game. It's not just about attracting new investors. It's about keeping them engaged and invested for the long haul.
You hit the nail on the head, and here's where it gets really interesting. They're laser focused on attracting young investors, especially those outside the major metropolitan areas.
Makes sense. There's a massive untapped market of potential investors in Tier 2, 3 cities, and beyond.
Exactly. India's overall market penetration for investing is still relatively low, which presents a golden opportunity for companies like Angel One.
They're tapping into a whole new generation of investors who are just starting their financial journeys. But they're not alone in this, are they?
Not at all. This surge in new investors is part of a much larger trend. We're witnessing the rise of digital brokers like Angel One, who are disrupting the traditional brokerage scene.
Disrupting might be an understatement. Got the numbers to back that up?
Oh, absolutely. Just look at the data. Last quarter, the top 5 digital brokers in India captured a whopping 73% of new active clients on the NSE.
Wow, that's more than two-thirds. That's a serious market share.
It's a digital revolution happening right before our eyes, and Angel One is at the forefront, consistently ranking second in attracting these new active clients. They're riding that digital wave like a pro surfer. But of course, with any investment strategy, there's an inherent risk market volatility, and that's something we'll be digging into next.
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? How do you navigate the ups and downs of the market? And more importantly, how is Angel One preparing for those inevitable choppy waters? That's what we'll be tackling in part 2 of our deep dive. So how do they ride those waves? What's their strategy for dealing with that volatility?
Well, that's the fascinating part. You see, Angel One's order volumes often go up when the major Indian indices decline.
Really? You'd think it would be the opposite.
You'd think so, right? But it actually highlights a significant shift in the Indian stock market. Individual investors are becoming a major force.
So they see these dips as buying opportunities. They're going against the grain.
Exactly. And there's data to support this trend. Just look at the numbers. The total value of shares held by individual investors in NSE-listed companies has doubled in just the past 3 years.
Wow, doubled. That's massive. So they're not just weathering the storm, they're using it to their advantage.
And here's another interesting factor: regulations.
Regulations. I usually think of those as a bit of a buzzkill, slowing things down.
I know, right? But in this case, they've actually strengthened the Indian stock market.
Okay, now you've got me really intrigued. How have they done that?
Well, take the example of India's peak margin norms. These rules basically limit how much leverage investors can use.
So less risky bets, more responsible trading.
Exactly. It promotes stability and ultimately builds trust in the market.
And has that translated into actual growth?
Oh, absolutely. Since these norms were put in place, we've seen a significant increase in both the number of demat accounts and the average daily turnover.
So, stricter rules, but more people are playing the game. That's pretty counterintuitive, but I kind of like it. But let's shift gears back to Angel One for a moment. They're not content with just being a brokerage, are they? They've got bigger fish to fry.
You read my mind. They're looking beyond traditional broking, aiming to become a one-stop shop for all things investing. We're talking wealth management, new product offerings, the whole 9 yards.
So they want to be the financial super app, kind of like what we've seen in other markets. Yeah. Everything under one roof.
Precisely. And this is where things get really interesting. Will this strategy pay off? Will they succeed in becoming India's go-to financial super app?
That's a big question. A big bet on the future of finance in India.
A big bet indeed. And it's a bet that could reshape the entire landscape of investing in one of the world's fastest-growing economies.
It's ambitious, no doubt about it. But can they pull it off? Can they really become the financial everything for a new generation of investors?
Well, that's the billion rupee question, isn't it? And it takes us beyond just looking at Angel One's performance. This is about understanding what it means for the future of finance in India.
So we've gone from breaking down their quarterly report to, like, witnessing the potential birth of a whole new financial system.
In a way, yes. Think about it. If this super app strategy works, it could completely revolutionize how Indians invest, how they manage their money, even how they think about personal finance in general.
It's like we're seeing a seismic shift happening right before our eyes. And Angel One is right there on the front lines, leading the charge.
And that's what's so fascinating about this whole deep dive. We started with a seemingly simple question. What's going on with Angel One's latest report?
Right. Record revenue, that dip in EBITDA, all those numbers swirling around. But look where we ended up. Exploring the rise of a whole new breed of investor.
Yeah. The impact of government regulation, the race to become India's financial super app. We've covered a lot of ground today.
We sure have. And that's what I love about these deep dives. We don't just skim the surface. We strap on our scuba gear and dive headfirst into the data.
And hopefully we come back up with some fresh insights, maybe even a few pearls of wisdom along the way.
Pearls of wisdom, I like that. Well, on that note, it's time for us to resurface. But for all you listeners out there, remember, keep asking those questions, keep exploring, keep diving deep into the world around you.
Absolutely. Until next time.